So I'm hitting go live. It's funny watching like the little delay because I can see you there, and then like 5 seconds later, you're moving on that screen. Okay, all right. So we are officially live. Welcome to. I'm going to soil myself. I am one of your lovely co-hosts. My name is Amber Carvaly. Oops, the only person here who's not changed their name to Mortician in the Kitchen. I see that you ladies have your personal names. I almost said private names, your private Instagram names. Follow us on Instagram. I am at Mortician in the Kitchen. I almost said I'm at the _ Mortician.
I am.
Yeah. No, I'm like super. I'm just going to say right now, I'm Amber Carvaly. I'm super off my game. I think I had like a little manic episode earlier because I cleaned my entire kitchen, which usually says that I'm having a little manic episode. So I'm shaking it off and I feel a lot better now. So follow up with that. You two, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Melissa Meadow. I'm known online as the Modern Mortician. The Instagram and the TikTok is at _modern_mortician. And passing to Sandy.
And I am Sandy at the Radical Reaper. There's some underscores in there in between the words. And it's been a day. So, but none of us are perfect and no one's perfect. So here we are anyway. Good for us for showing up.
I wonder if we can do, I'm going to write at Mortician in the Kitchen as my name.
Oh, perfect.
That messes with it. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. So now you can just type
smart. We should start doing all the episodes like that.
Yeah. Yes, I love that.
Yeah, see, it just takes us like a little bit of time to get all the bugs worked out.
I don't know how to do it.
Look, we're learning.
Am I gonna go? Where do I change it at?
In settings.
Settings, and then scroll down and.
Okay, there. No.
Hey.
Oh, that.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Nope, that didn't work. Where is it?
Oh,
mirror video.
So go to the left-hand corner of your screen at the bottom in settings, and scroll all the way down to your info. It should be all the way at the bottom when the little pop-up box comes up.
Oh, wait a minute. It wasn't even showing because it's so. I have to make my screen smaller. I must be like blind. Okay, your name. There we go. Stop making it smaller. Okay. Now that we've wasted 5 minutes of everyone's time.
No, it's okay. I'm using this this time to say very quickly that turning it around. We are live on the YouTube. I think that is what kids say these days. I know because I am a child. So you can follow the conversation live on YouTube by hey Hetty. You can, there's a link in my stories. So if you go to my stories, this is live. My grandma is on. Hi, grandma. I'm not confident that you're going to figure this out. I have to, by the way, do stories every day because my grandma got really sad. And she thought that I had like perhaps blocked her or that she couldn't see my stuff anymore because she wasn't seeing my stories. And so I need to put stories up every day so she can confirm. She thought that the stories were also, sorry, grandma, I'm not calling you out, but it's very important that you know that I love you. So my grandma is watching right now. Grandma, go to my stories and there is a link in my stories. And if you hit that link, it says YouTube, then you can watch this live, but you can't get mad at whatever I'm going to say. And I probably will cuss. Or you can go to my link in my bio, but I think that will be harder for you. So I have to turn this live off now, and we'll talk later. So everyone say hi to my grandma.
Hi, Grandma.
All right.
Aww.
Okay, my grandma's so funny. She was really sad. She was like, "Did you block me?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so." And she was like, I didn't see your stories. I saw Bailey's stories and I saw Savannah's. And I was like, oh, it's because I haven't posted any. I just wasn't posting stories. So then I was like, well, because I'm going to have to start posting stories every day. So my grandma will get
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
All about grandmas in this house.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like a grandma now. So today we are discussing two things. We are discussing the ethics of language, and then we're going to do a recap on your time at the Natural Organic Reduction. Was it a convention?
It was, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, oops, I'm wearing pants, but that looked a little suggestive.
Oh yes, I think
Oh yeah, you have a hole in your crotch.
It's all right. I didn't see anything.
I saw your panties. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I saw a shadow. But she does have pants on. Somebody last week or last time thought a blanket fell off and that you were naked. So you have a hole in your crotch, but it's okay.
I always have pants on.
I usually have I'm a big fan of the American Apparel shorts. Okay, so
and we're always wearing full underwear too, by the way. So
yes, but I never wear socks.
I wear clothing. I'm not flexible.
All right. Do you want to give us? Do you want to start? I feel like the ethics of language is going to be something that we'll probably that feels like we're going to keep things contained and not do a rant, which is really me just talking to me right now. Whenever I say anything like "and nobody's going to cuss," I'm just talking to myself. You should just know. I just don't trust me. I am a dirty sailor. But do we want to start with the convention stuff first, since that I feel like that has like a solid beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I learned a lot. All in all, I think that Seth and the Natural Funeral did a phenomenal job. They made this really accessible for people, and I think that was awesome. Seth and Dan made it possible for a lot of people, including myself, to be there and attend for free. So I think that, we just to start that out, we should give a huge shout out to them and all of the work they're doing. I cannot say enough amazing things about Seth and his team. Every single person that I met that was part of the Natural Funeral was just hands down incredible. And they're an awesome group of people. So everyone should definitely check them out. And the event he put on was really, really cool.
I think I can make clapping. I don't know. Let me see.
So the Natural Funeral is out of Colorado. They do have social media and Facebook, so you can check them out.
Yes. Very, very great. Awesome people. We also met people, we met really cool people too. Dr. Carpenter Boggs, a lot of really, really awesome people that everyone should definitely follow.
I was gonna ask her to kind of give everybody a background. Who started this interest in natural organic reduction? What y'all go for it?
Yes. So I think that, obviously when we're talking about natural organic reduction, the very first person that we should always mention in the conversation is Katrina Spade. Without her work and all the pioneering that she did, this wouldn't be possible. And I believe that Katrina herself even mentioned, she's like, surely I wasn't the first person to think of this idea. But however, she definitely made it come true. There were a lot of farmers doing mortality composting prior to this. It still happens to this day in a lot of places. It's very, very common for livestock. And actually something I learned at this convention is it's one of the only ways to get rid of certain viruses. I forget the exact terminology, but there are certain methods that are known to break down viruses and bacteria. And certain government agencies consider them positive methods of destroying these types of bacteria. So it's how they get rid of birds that have died from avian flu. And they use methods like that. So we had folks like Dr. Carpenter Boggs, who has been quite literally, I forget the exact number that she said, it was a ridiculous amount of chickens that this woman has composted. Dr. Carpenter Boggs is definitely the queen of mortality composting, and she's the one who has helped Katrina from the beginning with this project at the University of Washington. So they're a phenomenal team, brilliant women. Katrina has worked tirelessly to make this come true. And she also takes time to do a lot of work with helping other people in other states. She came and testified for Maryland when we were putting House Bill 1060 up on the table. And I know that she's testified in other states as well. So she's definitely, if you've got questions about natural organic reduction and you want good answers, Katrina's going to be the expert there, hands down, no questions about it.
Nice.
And she's also very sweet, very, very kind. She's definitely, I can't say that I've ever heard or seen Katrina say a negative word about anyone. She's a good person. So very, very sweet.
Nice. I like that. I'm assuming that there were like presentations or talks. Did you have like a favorite presentation? Did you learn anything that you didn't know or that you think people would find interesting?
I did. And it's being someone who really, really loves all the geeky science stuff. It's this talk that Dr. Carpenter-Boggs did on composting itself is actually what I found the most interesting. And the first thing that I'm going to say is we're actually a little bit wrong. And when I spoke, I made Dr. Carpenter-Boggs twitch a little bit because the product that is left behind after human composting is not soil. Compost is not soil. And so if you please keep that in mind when speaking to Dr. Boggs, because she might hurt me if you refer to it as soil. It is natural organic reduction product. So we are going to soil ourselves. The name is very fun, but we're not actually soiling ourselves. We're going to mix our compost with the soil.
Yes. Does it have to do with like nitrogen and carbon and all of that? Like the
apparently, something that I didn't know is.
Sorry, I can't hear Amber very well at all.
Oh, here. I can pull that closer. Okay.
You didn't blow in it.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, okay.
Keep talking.
Sorry.
My bad. Oh no, where were we?
You were talking about soil.
Oh, yes. The soil.
The nitrogen.
So apparently, like in real actual soil that you would find like out in your garden or out in your topsoil, something natural to your terrain, the biggest composition of that is mineral, which isn't something that I expected. And I guess I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I am far, far, far from a soil scientist, but it's a lot different than the composition that's left behind from like our actual organic remains. So while it is like beneficial and these things like mix and blend with the soil, but like the actual natural soil that we find, the different mineral compositions aren't quite the same. Excuse me. And so it's just like you said, exactly. It's like a difference in like the chemical makeup, but like although it's beneficial, one of the reasons that it's so positive is in places like Colorado and Emily, who runs the Colorado Natural Burial Preserve, this compost is really important in areas like this because in places where there's been wildfires or the climate can be really arid, the compost tends to hold more of a moisture content, which is really important for the germination of seeds. So this compost, they're able to use this. They don't have to use as much water or they don't have to rely on the rain as much in order to refurbish grasslands. And another, everyone always thinks about being a tree or using trees for reforestation, but grassland is actually another really phenomenal way to restore our natural wildlife. It's super beneficial to the climates and areas, something that gets slept on a lot. And it's a point that, I never thought about as much. Again, everyone wants to be a tree, but I think it's just as important to want to be a badass field of grass.
I agree.
Yeah, so
my God, t-shirt idea. I want to be a badass field of grass. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
I'm taking a note.
Beautiful. But no, I definitely, the work that Dr. Carpenter-Boggs, as well as her graduate student B, are doing is just phenomenal. Everyone should definitely keep an eye out on them because they're leading the research right now that's happening with natural organic reduction and the actual scientific research, I guess I should say. And it's being done through the University of Washington. They have jumped through so many hoops. They've actually had hoops created that they needed to jump through in order to make this happen. So they're
I can
definitely,
imagine.
and you know, it's also, I think, pretty cool to see, as women do in so many different ways, so many women leading the way, and you know, non-binary folks as well, that are actually leading the science and the research behind making this possible. So, you know, a lot of people see some of these folks, these, you know, and I think it's true in every industry. You know, it's certainly not unique to death care, but everyone sees these rich white men and they picture them as the face of this. But it's being built on the back of women and non-binary folks and BIPOC that are doing this work and leading the research and leading the way.
So actually this kind of segues into some quick tea for our audience. Without saying names, I will say that there's interesting stuff going on in the death care community, especially around natural organic reduction, where you have one provider that led the way and another person in their team wasn't satisfied and took their business plans and recreated them. And it's just like, okay. And then you've got another section of it, company that is in the tech, used to be in the tech industry that, you know, did well in the direct cremation industry, and now they're in the natural organic reduction game. You got Farmer Walt out in the middle of Clickatack County in Washington doing them in big barrels outside, and then you got Seth out in Colorado, and other people are wanting to bring these things online. But the tea behind everything, we're supposed to all be on the same team. Actually, the good ones are on the same team. The bad ones are stealing business plans and reduplicating them.
Yeah, that's okay. So I don't know if you saw I texted. I figured out what happened. Somehow my Yeti mic disconnected in the middle of recording, and it doesn't allow it to reconnect while we're recording. So
You
I can
sound
just
great.
okay, yeah, I'll just use this. Yeah, all of that stuff is sort of like I feel like really shitty people just sort of explain that away as capitalism. You know, they're just like, well, you know, like that's how it works. And it's like, right, that's why this is a problem. It's like capitalism. Again, not that I want to make everything about capitalism. I'm not even like that smart in economics, but I do know how it affects me, and it definitely blows. But yeah, it's people. Those are the kind of people that are like, it's not. They're the same kind of people that say it's not personal, it's just business.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of people that say that bullshit.
Well, and you know, I got
no man that acts like that. I learned the hard way, though. The hard way.
That's one of my favorite people in the industry. I mean, not to brag on you guys, but obviously there's a reason I'm here with you. And all the people that I've truly made friends with, I've noticed, are the ones who aren't doing gatekeeping. It's people like Seth and Katrina and Dr. Carpenter Boggs. They're willing to sit down and have a conversation with you and talk with you on a real person-to-person basis. And, you know, we're not charging people to come in and have a seat and have a conversation with us to ask us, you know, there's something to be said about people that are working together to form a community and to actually help one another learn. Because and I believe it was Seth who might have said it, and I'm going to definitely misquote it, but it was something like the rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah.
And
that's
if we can just work together, and the world is big enough for all of us. And I think we're all trying really, really hard to just do our part and make it better. So it'd be a heck of a lot easier if certain people would stop trying to tear others down and we could just be on the same freaking team.
Yeah, it's hard because there's just always going to be people that personality wise are just different. Again, like I'm always trying to be really careful, and you know, I think it was really nice how you said like Katrina was, I don't know if you said this off air, that she's just very diplomatic, and that is something that I really strive to be, because every day it's sort of like people always want to hear the tea, you know, like people are just like, yeah, give me that gossip, give me that tea, but then you tell them and it like feels good, and then they're like, cool, well, I don't care because I'm going to keep doing whatever, you know. So it's like I always try to remember that it's like it's not, it doesn't do anything, it only makes me look like a crummy person. And all of that was to say that somebody that I used to work with, who is a man, in case people were thinking I was talking about somebody else, said that to me, and said that about me, and it was very hurtful. And I just think about like, just like, oh yeah, this is just someone in the industry who operates this way within the funeral industry, that like everything. They're just very like cutthroat. And they were like, it's not personal. It's just business. And it's like, well, I never got a text message from you ever again. And you had a baby and you didn't tell me about your baby. And I haven't heard from you in 3 years. So it feels a little personal. Feels a little personal if I've flown to Washington twice to hang out with you and your wife and spent the night at your place and had, breakfast and lunch and dinner with you and your wife and went over a bunch of stuff. And then when you cut me out of my own business and said, don't worry, it's not personal. I'm just going to say that. And you know what? That was not diplomatic. I'm pretty angry about that still, turns out. But anyways, so
This is me losing my shit.
Yeah.
That same person weaseled into my business dealings in Texas and helped escort me out of something that I created from the ground up as well.
Yeah.
Little skis ball.
It was I'll tell you what, I am not
Dirty
willing
little skis ball.
Yeah, I'm not willing to admit when my husband is right, but my husband called that one. He was like, I do not like that guy. He is, like, I always feel like it's like, I don't know if it's like what it is, but like, I was like, no, he's so nice. He's like my big brother. He's totally looking out for me. And my husband was like, he is not. This guy is definitely going to dick you over. And he definitely dicked me over. That was a real hard lesson. But I will say that learning that lesson did not make me, it didn't make me feel like, it didn't harden my heart. Like, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to continue to be nicer to people and make sure that nobody else has that happen to them. Cause that was like super devastating.
I'm still going through processing the trauma of it all. So I still react badly, which kind of segues us all into our secondary topic. Yeah. You had the great title for it. Go ahead, Amber.
Yes, our secondary topic is the ethics of language. How do we talk about what we want to talk about, one, without being called, victim blaming or shaming other people? I had a lot of people when I've only really openly discussed what happened at Undertaking LA once, like really genuinely once publicly. And some people were there for it, and a lot of people didn't care. And some people were really upset. Some people were really upset that I had the audacity to say that someone had harmed me. And I think that that's really interesting. And it was, I don't like to throw around the word triggering, but it felt very triggering. I was assaulted when I was younger, and I was, how do you say? I was told it was my fault. It was my fault. And they were like, like, this makes us all really uncomfortable. We don't really want to hear about it. Did you just try talking to the person? And I was like, did I try to talk to the person who perpetrated violence against me? Hey, if you could not be violent next time, that'd be amazing. So the whole Undertaking LA thing definitely felt like replaying that trauma, where like a lot of people were like, maybe you should talk to her privately. And I was like, this is really upsetting because I heard all the things that she said about me privately. They weren't great. A lot of her getting to the story first and telling other people other things. And it is still traumatizing today, to be fucking real. It is still so traumatizing today because even right now in this place, I don't feel like I can talk about it because I don't think that people really care. And this is kind of what I was saying earlier, is that a lot of people always want to know. They're like, ooh, tell me what happened. And I'm kind of at a point where I'm just like, I don't want to anymore, because it kind of feels like telling people about my sexual assault and you like getting off on my sexual assault and being like, sucks. Maybe you shouldn't have been drinking. And like, this just feels so much like it. It just feels like people are like, wow, so what happened? And I'm like, well, it was actually pretty shitty. And like, here's all the stuff that happened. And then they're just like, I don't know. She seems really nice though. And I'm like, well, okay. So yeah, so that's my beef with like, just like the ethics of like storytelling and character. That doesn't even like touch on just like tone and stuff. I've never really talked about my assault. This is like the first time. Yeah, super glad I'm doing it live and recorded.
Oh, mercy. Are you okay?
Yeah. You know what? It was like 13 years ago. But
I know, but are you okay right now sharing? Are you okay?
Oh, yeah. I think I'm fine. I'm fine. It feels like so much better to just be able to say it. It's like, honestly, like the worst thing is like, and I think that's how I feel with like Undertaking LA. I was like, the worst part about it is that people like that I'm not allowed to talk about it, that I'm just like, oh, I just have to like keep going through life where people are like, this person's so nice, they're so great, and I'm like, I guess so. It feels like a really big, like a bigger picture, like a bigger life lesson about like how we don't have any control over anything. Like the only thing I can do is control my reaction and just be like, I'm just going to continue to be a nice person. Like I'm going to be a safe space. Like I will allow other people to feel that they can tell me stuff. But yeah, it sucks. But yeah, as far as like everything else, I mean, like I definitely like processed it, went to like therapy, talk about it. I talk about it sometimes, but I don't know. In some ways, talking about it here like makes me feel really removed. Like I know that people will watch this, but like I kind of reached a like really healthy place with social media, where for the most part, like if people say something, I just go delete, and then I just text it, and I'm like, look at what this fucking bitch said, and then I just go on with my day because I work mainly by myself, and it's really nice and comforting. Probably also people are like, why do you like dead people? I'm like, well, I can think of a few reasons. So yes, Hetty says no limits on healing. It's okay to talk about it. Just make sure you're not pushing yourself. Yeah, I think I've like talked. I mean, like I have friends that I talk about it with. Anyways, I just made the ethics of language about a really heavy topic. So have fun following that up.
Okay. So where do you go? How do you
So
segue?
we're talking about people's triggers though. And like the point to this is that you like we're just flying through space and we're putting things out there, and you have no idea what the person on the other side is going through. You know, like when that I was telling you that the girl was upset with me for using binary language, and I was like, I fucking like women. Like I'm married to a man, but I like women. I have been with women, and like it's upsetting to me to think that I have to like out my sexual partners or tell you how many people I've dated so I can have some sort of like sexuality cred so that I am allowed to speak this way. And so I think that like your situation, because the thing that caught my attention was that that girl was like, you know, like your hashtags say that you're promoting super green burial. And it's like, well, I hashtag Caitlin Doty in my stuff because I think that people that follow Caitlin Doty might like me. Doesn't mean that like I'm associated with her. So we're just dealing with people who are making their own assumptions, thinking about things, and you don't have a chance to. You don't know this person. You don't get to talk to them. They don't get to hear. You know, they don't get to inflections and tone. You don't get a chance to explain anything. They just make a split second decision, and so you reacted. You know, she said that she didn't like the shroud.
Said,
she felt
the tag about, so I was showing off a fabric that had flowers on.
right.
Immediately thought that this was a modern piece of fabric and not vintage. It 100% is vintage. Like I looked it up. It's 100% cotton. It's got the flowers all over it. Like I get these at thrift shops, or I have followers on Instagram send them to me. I've had them bring them to the funeral homes that I've worked at before. All these patterns that are great for do it yourself shrouds.
Right.
So I believe her initial complaint was that she thought that I was hashtagging natural to a product that was a polyfiber mix. But instead of asking me privately, hey, is that, she just started like saying stuff on my thread. I was one of the early adopters of social media education. Y'all can both verify that. Am I right? I mean, I was on the Instagram story showing the back of hospitals and removals before anybody even thought about what TikTok was. Oh shit. So I don't react well to criticism, even if it's meant to be constructive, because I've had 5 years of trauma of dealing with DMs, people calling me, posting my phone number in embalmers who care over posts that I've made before, getting dirty calls in the middle of the night. Like I've been through it. Like this has been a thing. I've been harassed for my opinion and the education I do on social media. And I want one thing people don't understand is one post cannot cover the gamut. So if I don't mention that, I don't know anything. If I don't mention one little thing, somebody will attack me in the comments and say, that's not true because you didn't say this. or something like that. And I'm like, look, 2 posts back.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been doing this. I'm OG. I've been doing this since 2016 is when I started my Instagram for this. It's like, so and you can tell I'm still very triggered by it now. I see a therapist when I can afford her. But I'm working on it. And like that comment that one lady made, let's see. I have to say that every time I've asked you a question or commented, you've been rude or dismissive. Do you know how many people comment or message me? And I reply to almost everybody. Like, people were even commenting in that post that I made. Like, Melissa's really good about responding. How many other death educators are really good at responding besides you and you?
Yeah, I used to respond to people for Caitlin. And she can, if she sees this or someone tells her, she's welcome to deny that. But I have written emails to people and then signed her name to them to give back to people, because that's how much I would care about people. Because she'd be like, I don't have, and like for empathy, she did not have time to respond to everybody. It is exhausting. And there is nothing wrong with protecting your psyche and making sure that you can be there to help everybody. But I absolutely responded to people on her behalf all the time. And sometimes I would just like, we'd be like, do you want me to sign your name? And she'd be like, yeah. So yeah, it takes a lot of energy to respond to people. And I don't think that people understand that. And I think that, like, because I saw your comment that set her off, and you said, and if it's okay if we talk about it more, that you said, so pick something else, which I'm sure to her, she was just like, oh, well, what the, like, pick something else. And I know you. I know you're just like, all right, well, like, just don't buy that.
Something else.
Right, pick something that works for you.
Yeah, pick something, just support something, which made her say, like, well, you're hashtagging Green Barrel, you're hashtagging. It's like, first of all, a hashtag, that's not a contract. That's not an endorsement. That's not a promotion. That's saying like Green Barrel, you might like this content. You might be into this. Like, I got really triggered because that girl was like, oh, why did you use AI art? And it was really hard for me because I wanted to be like, oh, why don't you give me any money for my work at all? I have never seen you donate to me. And every day I get up at 7 a.m. and then I work a 9-hour job. And then I do this for free. And now I have to pay $300. Well, I mean, I know that the end is going to, thanks the end for paying for my funeral director's license. But it's like, yeah, I have to pay. I've been for the last 12 years, been paying for a funeral license just so that I can say I have a license to be a funeral director. Sorry, I don't want anyone to get mad, but it's like, so why did I use a piece of AI art? Because I need my life to be easier. I am exhausted and nobody is giving us money for this. And I need to keep moving forward. And Canva is also basically AI art. I hate to break it to you. So I just need to get things going. And I also find it rather insulting that because we don't have money, that we shouldn't have nice things in a way, like in a way that I feel different about people coming to my nice restaurant and not tipping me. That's different. I did provide a full service. That would be like me asking an artist to make that art and then not paying them because I deserve nice things. I don't go into Chanel and steal purses because I deserve that. But I think that using a piece of art and an AI art so that I can just put something up so that I can be like, hey, here's a proof of concept. We're all nice ladies who will talk about things that will make you feel very uncomfortable. Please give us money. Thank you. That would be great. So anyways, sorry, I feel like I'm such a show stealer. I'm like, Melissa.
No. I want to tell you. I'll tell you another post that I got. Okay. That I have a bad habit of this. When people attack me publicly, I will screenshot and reshare so everybody can see what I'm going through and why I react the way I do. It's me trying to balance the playing field, I guess. But people tell me I shouldn't do that because of my following. Nobody goes after these people. If anything, I lose more followers by even sharing what I go through. But this one lady on TikTok about the Titan casket video was like, Titan is cheap junk. And I was just like, your mama is cheap junk, because it just made me feel better. And she said something about, I'm a funeral director, Missy. And she's like, at least I could hack it in the industry and I'm not selling internet caskets. And I was like, what? This is not even a sponsored post. I'm sharing this to educate the consumer. And then you've got other funeral directors. This segued into a different one where other funeral directors are like, we got some that were from a third party, they were dented and they arrived late and it ruined everything. And I tagged Titan, like, Titan, this is what funeral directors tell the families. Like, this is what I've seen. I've witnessed this.
Mhm.
And then they get upset with me because I'm trying to, like, I'm not doing it well. I don't have a PR team to tell me how to react to things. I don't. I am human and I am recently diagnosed autistic, and I've known for a while I have CPTSD. I'm doing the best I can. Everybody, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's hard because I don't want to be like, you are really trying your hardest, sweetheart. Like, but you are. And I think that being here and like even just putting this out there, like, I don't know how many people are like watching. I mean, I do, but like it's so many guys. That's like our highest number right now. So we're kind of killing it. Yeah. Thanks everybody. But I think that like hearing you talk about it, people seeing you, it's different. Like, and yes, we don't have PR people. We are not polished. I think I've discussed that. I take a lot of pride in being raw and unpolished. Okay, diamonds are this is how diamonds start off. Is a thing that I think I either made up or people have said. Thank you, Hetty. I'm just gonna continue to call Hetty Lamar. Hetty Lamar thinks that we're super duper cool. But yeah, I think that there's something to be said about taking a breath and giving a measured response and finding a way to be diplomatic. I too am known for being hot-headed sometimes. If I can give you advice, I like to find people who don't matter and I savagely roast them. And it's like, that's like getting everything out. I'm just like, I don't want to smack other people that will definitely smack me back, but if it's like some guy on the internet trolling me, I'm like, yes, here we go. Oh, finally. It's great. It's so much fun. Really lets off a lot of steam. I have a lot of anger about the world.
Speaking of miscommunication and just bullying online, Sandy, share about what happened with you.
Oh, yeah. And first and foremost, I think that people forget often the number one thing, and we're just people too. Like, I'm not going to get things right all the time. I learn and unlearn new crap every freaking day. So if I misspeak or I'm wrong about something, correct me. Like, let's have a conversation. But you can do that in a way that's not demeaning and not disrespectful. We're both just people trying to learn and trying to be better. Which leads me to this person tagging. I have, we have, I know it's shocking, but we have friends. We know other people and we do have friends. And sometimes, so a friend of mine who's actually not in the funeral industry, the only one. So shout out to Ashley because she's the only one who will have me. But she tagged me in this post and she was like, hey, is this true? And I looked and it was a TikTok where someone who is not a licensed funeral director and worked in a funeral home for a very limited amount of time and is no longer in the industry was informing that she heard a story. Like, it was like a friend of a friend of a friend told me, and now that this is fact, that you cremate bodies of size and crematories at the zoo. And so my friend Ashley tagged me in this post and she was like, is this true? And my response was, no, it's not true. Don't worry. Just to Ashley, not to anyone else. I was like, no, this isn't a thing. And I texted Ashley privately about it and we continued the conversation privately. And then I looked at my phone and I had like a million billion notifications from people that were telling me it absolutely was true. And how dare I say it's not true? And I don't know what I'm talking about. And oh my God. And I was like, well, I'm a licensed funeral director, first of all. And I said, my main problem with this post is you're sharing information, and you can, whatever misinformation you want to spread, but what about the family who had someone that just passed that maybe was 400 pounds, and maybe they chose direct cremation, and now they're terrified because they're concerned their loved one was cremated at the zoo because of this post that you're sharing, and that's simply not true. And I could care less what like some teenagers on the internet think of me, but this could be really, really harmful to someone who just experienced a loss.
Yeah.
And it's the same problem I have with people that say things like tight-in caskets are cheap. Because what if someone just buried their loved one in a tight-in casket, and that was their option, and they were super proud of that, and now you're hating them? Like, you have no right to disrupt someone's, how they need to grieve is on them. But these people, because my TikTok, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not like hip with the kids. So like my TikTok name was what I used for my email. And they actually went online, followers of this person, they found out what funeral home that I worked for, and they called my boss and said that like they actually were trying to get me fired from my place of work for me saying that no, we do not cremate bodies of size at the crematory. And you know what? I'm also here to tell you, I dated a woman who worked for a zoo. I've worked at several zoos, and I'm here to tell you, they don't have retorts on zoo property that are going to be capable of cremating a 450-pound man. If you want to know the nitty gritty, sometimes zoo animals get sent off for necropsies. And you know what? That might involve having to chop them up. Yeah. Full disclosure, you want the big naughty truth, there it is. It doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen with everyone. It doesn't happen in every state. But sometimes they're not cremating an elephant in a retort at the zoo, and they're not cremating your loved one who is large in a body of size at the zoo. And if someone wants to crucify me for saying that, here it is. But I'm here on behalf of all the families I've served who have loved ones that might have been, larger folks. And no, they were not cremated at the zoo. So if you can take any measure of comfort in that, I'm happy for a million people to attack me.
I can't believe that people came for you and didn't come for that person for one of the most disgusting examples of fat shaming I think I've ever heard. Because that's horrific. That is her. I am like, when we get done with this, please let me know their name so that I can create a fake account and start trolling this person. Holy shit. That's monstrous. That is like, did anybody go like, Charlie, what now? Did you just compare someone who's 450 pounds to a zoo animal to an animal? What?
And the only person who even somewhat came to my defense was Melissa. And she was like, hi, she's correct. We don't cremate people at the zoo, just in case you're wondering.
So, like, I have heard that rumor from old funeral directors before, but it is nothing more, to my knowledge, to be a rumor, because it's old men talking to each other and joking around. There's no way that would fly. And if it did, it was 100 years ago.
It's also illegal. You can't.
Yeah, it is illegal. Well, in Oregon, you can cremate pets and humans in the same machine. So I guess it really depends on the state.
Okay.
But for this person to go after Sandy the way that they did with their followers, for her trying to comfort families in the knowledge that that's not something that happens. It doesn't happen right now. It does not happen.
Okay, so we don't have to say who it is.
No, don't put it on here. They'll come after us again.
I would love to. This is the kind of person that I need to take all of my frustration about the world out on. I'm like, tell me offline. I need someone that I don't feel bad about arguing with. I don't like arguing. Here's what I was going to say earlier is that like, just like nobody knows what we went through. There is no way that somebody was going to be like, I feel really uncomfortable with you talking about what happened at Undertaking in LA. They didn't know that was going to trigger like old wounds where I'm like, wow, this really feels a lot like when I was, traumatized at 25. And now I'm reliving all of that and this too. And this sucks. And none of my friends want to talk to me. We don't know what other people are going through. So you don't know what, the couple of people you talked about, like, you don't know how they perceive things. You don't know what happened to them today or yesterday or what they're going through. And I think that's like a really good thing to keep in mind. The first thing I do when anybody says anything to me is that I look at their profile. I see who they are. I I see what their last posts were. I go out, this will amaze people. I go out of my way to try to figure out what emotional state you might have been in and what I said that might have hurt your feelings. I feel bad about everybody's feelings I've ever hurt. There was a guy on the Toyota financial line 8 months ago who overheard me tell my boss that I've just been on hold forever. And then he came back on. He was like, I'm so sorry. And I still think about him. I have no idea who he was. He was a person at Toyota Financial, and I was miffed that I had been on hold. And I feel bad to this day that I hurt his feelings. So, do I feel bad about hurting anybody's feelings on the Instagram? Yes, I still think about it. Whoever you are, if you're just like, I wonder if she still thinks about that one thing. I do. Yes. To answer your question, I think about everything. It's why I have to up my Zoloft prescription soon. So we don't know what people are going through. Empathy, kindness, diplomacy they're just always going to be the best thing. And it's hard because, you're just like, well, I'm a person too. But what is isn't it from Spider-Man? Is it with great power comes great responsibility? Okay.
Yes.
So here's the thing is that you have 45,000, 43,000. I have almost 20,000 followers. So at some point I do have to be more responsible. I do have to I know I heavily alluded to how I have what feelings I have about two very specific people, but for the most part, I don't say anything anymore. I've had a couple of people just go like, well, can I ask? And I'm like, you can ask, but here's the God's honest truth. It just doesn't matter anymore. It just doesn't, because I'm in a really good place. I'm so happy to be working with you guys, and death is a lot heavier and it's a lot worse. One of my friends, her husband has just passed away, and she was asking about it, and I was like, you know what, in this moment I actually cannot believe I'm even upset about it, because it's so insignificant. I can't believe that I'm upset at a mean girl and your husband died, because honestly that's way more important, and it really puts things into perspective that I'm just like, fine, we have got whatever. Anyways, the point being that we do owe people a modicum of diplomacy that maybe other people don't, because to them they are like, well, I'm following you and I'm offering you engagement even though we're not making any money. They don't know that. Maybe they think we're doing really well and we should be flattered. I'm not, just to put it out there.
Me neither.
Yeah.
But
One
I
of my
would
former
like to.
employers thought that I made a living on Instagram and TikTok, and I was like, what?
I aspire to do well. I'm almost 40. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Not in today's climate.
No. But we can just keep being nice. So it super duper sucks getting called out on stuff. I did not enjoy people telling me that they did not want to hear my side of the story, because here's the thing, at the end of the day, the person in question provides a lot of good. And that's really hard. Oh, that was the thing I wanted to say, is that there's this Simpsons episode when we were texting, and it's about Jebediah Springfield. And I think that, yeah. And I meditate on this idea, is that sometimes people who are imperfect can bring a lot of good to the world. And it doesn't mean that they're not mean or that they have made mistakes, but their work brings people happiness and peace. And it's hard when it's at odds with my own unhappiness and my inability to find peace. But it's, you hope that other people can learn this when they're just Titan sucks, on a small level. But Jebediah Springfield was a shitty person and a pirate, but he was a noble spirit embiggens us all, and everyone in Springfield is so happy because Jebediah Springfield makes them better people. The mythology of Jebediah Springfield makes the Springfieldians better people. And I think that is a really beautiful, philosophical, ethical, to circle back to ethics, it's a really interesting ethical question to think upon, is because nobody's perfect. I think Woody Allen is a monster and was not surprised I was like, he just looks like someone who does bad things, but lots of people like his movies. And Kanye West is topic not for this show, but I love his music. But my family is Jewish, and I'm like, bro, it's getting real hard to support. I keep trying to find ways to support you, and you're just, I can't. So I like people that are problematic. I like the Kanye West's old albums are great. Fight me on them. They're magic. I love them, but said a lot of really terrible things about Jewish people and thus my family, and that's very upsetting. So yeah, so people need to let people be people. Don't say bad things about Jewish people though. Sorry. Just in case anybody thought that it was going that way. It's not. Take responsibility.
But in conclusion, I would like to add, if I have pissed you off on Instagram or TikTok, it wasn't intentional unless you were after me. Unless you were intentionally trying to get a reaction, it wasn't intent. I'm not threatening anybody. I was picking my cuticles.
Yeah, I would say the same
I am
thing.
sorry.
No, I think that that's the point to this, is that we wanted to come on and just be like, we're not trying to. It is understandable if you get defensive. I do think that it's understandable if I get defensive, and I think that this is like us coming on to, maybe, is it okay to say we're apologizing, Melissa, if we've ever been defensive?
Not laurel. It's not. It's the eucalyptus, but we're gonna pretend a laurel, a peace offering.
Peace offering.
Yes. You know,
I mean,
and
so-
again, there's a lightness and a darkness to everyone within ourselves. Like we can't be happy and positive all the time. We're going to get upset. Other people are going to get upset. And all of our emotions, no matter what they are, when they are, they're valid. It's all right to be upset. It's all right to have moments. It's right for us to get angry. It's okay for people to get angry at us. I think at the end of the day, it's all about like what we can take away from that and the lessons that we can learn. And if everyone can just try to remember that everyone's freaking human. We're people. There are people. You know, there's good people do bad things. Bad people do good things. No one is just one embodiment. You know, we all have it all in us. We're all capable of hurting feelings and having our feelings hurt.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just people are complicated. We're just complicated, and all three of us are complicated. And I know I'm gonna continue to I'm gonna do my best to be a good person. And I apologize. I apologize in advance. And my ask, I said this on my personal Instagram, is that my ask is that if I upset you, to nicely respond with what you felt was upsetting and what you would like to see in the future. That's so helpful. Like, I think about that girl that was like, your language still feels very binary. And I was like, could you just provide an answer? I'm not telling people to do the work, by the way. I want to be really careful, because I feel like that statement really just started hedging into like white lady saying like, you educate me. I'm not doing I spend every second of every day reading and like trying to be better. But like, if you see like a word and you're just like, hey man, easy fix, so you don't piss people off later, maybe say this. Like, thank you. I would say thank you so much for helping me. Thank you for helping me. So that's all I got.
And I think that if people, genuinely knew, you guys are both so, like, I watch Amber, you like, and Melissa constantly trying to figure out, how you can be good and helpful and kind to others. You're not people that are out there trying to cause malintent. So for anyone who doesn't know you personally, but maybe feels as if they do, I would invite them to maybe take a deeper look, because you guys both have some of the biggest hearts I've ever seen. And I can't say that I've only had like one experience with someone attacking me online, but it's also because I don't really have an online presence. Both of you guys try so hard to make free and accessible education possible for so many people. And you put so much of your time and energy into putting yourselves in a public space in a way that is going to be accessed by so many. In a lot of ways, it puts a target on your back that is done so unfairly. Again, I think people get this idea that they know you guys. Because of one Instagram post. And that's because you're both awesome and you try so hard. So it's, you're so open. And again, you're open to, if you do hurt someone's feelings, you want to be able to make it better. So I think that I just wanted to note that for anyone who maybe doesn't know you personally, again, but feels like they do.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
I'd say, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, just to reiterate, yeah, I invite anyone. I think we all, as a team, like, if there's something that we say, like, we want to be better, so we invite you to think about how to say it to us nicely, because are we all on meds? I'm on meds. Melissa's on meds. Sorry, that was rude of me to just be like, do you
No,
guys
I
want to
brought
just
up my lithium before. They're trying to make me want to get up in the morning.
yeah.
God bless Prozac.
Yeah.
God bless it.
Team Zoloft, Team Lithium, Team Prozac. Guys, we're fucking really putting that's a really vulnerable thing to put out there, to just be like, look, I mean, we have the three of us. So yeah, that's, you know what? Can I say one last thing about somebody who, so this girl that I knew and I hadn't seen in a while posted on Instagram today, and she's so lovely, and it felt like the post that I needed to see, even though it came from a really dark and sad place from her. And she talked about how she'd been really struggling, and that she was really sad because she felt that the world does not do a good place holding space for people to be sad and to grieve, and that she had privately been struggling with depression. And I don't think she was on anything, and I think she basically described that she had felt like horrifically alone. She had thoughts of self-harm and dying by suicide. She did end up getting help, but it was such a long, beautiful post about how she's like, and she talked a lot about how she's like, she's queer, and she's like, what I am seeing in the world today is so hard to take on, and I feel it too. I'm like, this is like, it's so upsetting, like everything that I'm seeing about how we view the trans community, and just everything. Sorry, I like, now I'm terrified to like say something. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I only mean to say, like, I feel so strongly and so happy, that ironically happy, to provide a place for people to be sad. And that's such a like mission for me, is like, all I'm really focused on is like, I actually just like, I want you to feel safe feeling sad, because like, this girl is so unbelievably sweet, and I feel so horrible, like we're not close enough that like I would have known anything was wrong, and she could just easily not be here today, like, thank God somebody in her life, or she found like the ability to like go get help. But like, in the essence, or in the how do I say, like, it's begging people to be kind, because you don't know what people are going through. And it is because society does not give people a space. Like, for 13 years, I've just carried around a really horrible thing that I've been able to talk to about with like 5 people, because society is like, hi, we would it makes us so uncomfortable that this very bad thing happened to you, so if you could like positive vibes only, please, and do not tell us about your sexual assault. Oh, it's so hard. And I'm like, it's hard having it happen to me. It was terrible. That's really hard. Every day I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ, man, this is fucking heavy. And it's fine now. It's fine. I can make a joke out of it. I can't make a joke. You know what I mean? Like, I find my own way. I used to do stand-up. This is me now getting into my stand-up. But I just think about this girl just being like, I didn't feel like I had a place to be sad. And like, the world would be a worse place without her. She is phenomenally talented and cool, and also very hot. And that doesn't make her a better person just because she's hot, but also she is very cute. And I would be very sad if her like lovely smile and talent wasn't here. And so I want to continue to build that place. But yeah, sorry. Did that made sense, right? Did I like,
yes,
we sort of got
yes.
about being kind.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
And and I think also, if I may say, just on behalf, as someone who in the past has attempted suicide and was privileged enough to receive the help and care in those moments, if there is anyone out there that is struggling and feels like they need someone to talk to, but they don't have a space, my inbox is always open. You can email me at Sandra@theend.green. I'll give you my cell phone number. You can text me if you need a place to talk, if you need someone to talk to. We're here. We get it. We may not be in your exact situation, but we've all struggled. We've all been there, and we'll listen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Melissa, you gotta sign off. Anything that you want to say?
My sign off is going to be this episode sponsored by
PBS.
yet, but it
Sesame
could be.
Sesame
So,
Street is like, no.
Let's remind you guys to check our link tree. We've just got the rest of this month for our Flower Power fundraiser. And then we're going to move to soap.
Yes. I
And
like
then
soap
also-
because it's great. And I was
Yes,
gonna say that.
Amber will love to tell you about the soap. And then also another thank you to Titan Casket. They don't pay me, but they did send me 2 different caskets that I utilize to educate consumers on, and they sent them to me when I was in like a transition, so I wasn't able to immediately post. But this one, you know, we do a fundraiser where people have donated $5 for a colored square in memory of their loved one that'll go on the n.green webpage at some point. I got a lot more to do. I hit a little bout of depression, and so I've got some of these to do. And then when we reopen it up, they'll start at $25 because they're very time consuming. I learned the hard way. So there you go. And if you need a coupon for Titan Casket, hit me up because I have friends in high places. And then also funeral directors, don't hate the player, hate the game. Titan Casket will work with your funeral home, and they can be your provider. So you can actually get deals with them that are probably better than Batesville. I don't know. Maybe you should call Josh and Will. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Well, then, once again, I am Amber Carvaly. I'm Mortician in the Kitchen. I do talk about food. Sometimes I don't just use this to lure you in like the witch from Hansel and Gretel. I'm like, come in, talk about cookies. And now I will tell you about all of the darkness in my heart with cookies. Melissa, I'm like, you're Melissa at the _modern _mortician. And
she said it. That's it.
The Radical Reaper. All right.
Well, thank you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Excellent. Closing out.
All right. Closing out. I'm gonna do the super awkward. I'm like, I guess I hit end stream.
Bye.
Okay, end stream. I like that. I feel like